This is absolutely wild as Laker trade rumors are starting to heat up as we're only 3 weeks away from the draft and 4 weeks away from free agency. So the Lakers, who are in the middle of everything, have been linked to a wild trade proposal that has a familiar face returning, and it could be beneficial to the Lakers in the short term specifically. What's good? I'm Okechi Apakama, and this is Lakers Digest coming at you with another video. And before we get into everything we have here for today's video, I just want to remind you guys to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already to get those Laker updates, guys, because we are pushing towards 20,000 subscribers. So each and every one of you guys who subscribes to the channel, we want to thank you guys, and you really, truly help out the channel. All right, with that out of the way, let's hop straight into the topics we have for you today, as a report proposed a massive trade. So we are in that era of, the news of where there is a whole bunch of rumors out there and there's a whole bunch of proposed trades left and right. But this one caught my eye the other day because it was a massive 4-team deal that included the Los Angeles Lakers, and it was centered around actually Giannis Antetokounmpo. So it had Giannis landing with the Toronto Raptors, but we have to just dive straight into the trade because it was a huge trade. But let's see who the Lakers would get back in this proposed trade between it was the Lakers, the Milwaukee Bucks, Toronto Raptors, and then I believe that fourth team there was the Chicago Bulls. So the Lakers in this proposed 4-team deal will be getting Jakob Poeltl from the Raptors and Lonzo Ball from the Bulls, while the Lakers would be giving up Dalton, Knecht, Jared Vanderbilt, and Shake Milton to the Chicago Bulls, while the Bulls would get AJ Lawson from the Raptors, $10 million from the Ball trade, and then $9 million from trading their center Smith, and also a 1.5 trading for Carter. And then there was the other parts of the trade where the Raptors, they would get the big prize in Giannis Antetokounmpo, Jalen Smith, and Javon Carter, and then Milwaukee gets all these assets. So RJ Barrett, Grady Dick, Chris Boucher, Jabuki Walter, Gabe Vincent from the Lakers will be heading over there. A 2025 first round pick from the Raptors, some 2026 swaps, a Lakers second round pick, 2026, a 2020 first round pick, 2028 first round right swap, 2029 first round pick, a 2030 right swap, a 2031 first round pick, and a 2032 first right swap, and it's a top 5 protected. This is all from the Toronto Raptors, so they'll be giving up almost 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, almost getting seven first rounders back in this proposed trade for Giannis Antetokounmpo. So like I said, a massive trade proposal, but I want to just focus here just on the Lakers because yes, that would be crazy for a team like the Toronto Raptors, but just on the Lakers sake because two guys specifically, Jakob Poeltl and Lonzo Ball. Now, I want to start with Jakob Poeltl because Jakob Poeltl is a guy that has been rumored in the past and could be up for a trade here for the Toronto Raptors, especially if they go draft big in this year's upcoming draft. So Jakob Poeltl could be a guy that they could leverage here for a trade, and if they get back a guy like Giannis Antetokounmpo, moving off of a guy like him would not be too hard for that team. So for the Los Angeles Lakers, what it does, I'll go into deeper what it does for our team and also Lonzo Ball as well here in my next topic, as that's just what are the pros and cons of this deal for the Lakers. Because like I said, these are two different types of players the Lakers would be getting back here. And like I said, I'll start with Jakob Poeltl here, and solid center. He has been a sturdy 5 for the past couple of seasons, starting over there in San Antonio and then making his way over to Toronto, and where he's just been a very solid guy. He actually had career high numbers in some of his stats here, especially in the scoring and rebounding department this season, averaging about 14.5 and 9.6 rebounds per game, 2.8 assists. So he's a pretty solid passer at the center position. And then he shot 62% from the field just because most of his shots were in and around the rim. And yeah, it says he shot 33% from 3, but I think that was only like 3 taken threes total. So he is not going to be a guy that's going to be taking any threes whatsoever. Most of his shots will come in around the paint or at the free throw line. So he is a guy that can has really nice touch in and around the rim, has became a better finisher, and then to go along with his defensive chops, where he averaged about 1.2 blocks per game and 1.2 steals per game. So he's pretty solid on that side of the ball too. As more of an interior threat, he's a bigger dude, so he's a guy who can hold up with stronger guys around the league. He's not really a mobile guy, so he's not a guy that you can have out there switching out onto guards on the perimeter, but he can do something that the Lakers did not have last season, and just being that bruising big body five that the Lakers can use in some lineups where if you need to play against a bigger five, or if you are needing to play some drop coverage, then a guy like Jakob would be the guy for the Los Angeles Lakers. And why making this trade would make sense for the Lakers, because this is that type of center that kind of missed and were sorely lacking. And they already had Jackson Hayes on the roster, and that's kind of slots Jackson Hayes in a better position. So if Jackson Hayes were to come back for next season, then you can have him in that appropriate backup role where Jakob is a starter, and you can switch them out if need to or whenever you need to. And then you still have that small ball unit that you can, or that centerless lineup unit that you can go to, where they had either Dorian Finney-Smith or LeBron James or Rui Hachimura covering the five position. So this kind of gives you just another punch in the arsenal, and Jakob is as solid as they get. So getting a guy like him would be beneficial for the Lakers. And then moving on to the other player in this, a player we're somewhat familiar with, is Lonzo Ball. And it was interesting that Lonzo Ball's name was thrown into this, because his name was around trade rumors around the deadline, but then the Bulls extended him, surprisingly enough. But it was a very team-friendly deal. I believe it was about a 2-year, $20 million deal. And just taking a look at Lonzo's stats, like he was coming back into form this season, so the stats don't look too eye-popping out there. Just averaged about 7.6 points per game, 3.4 rebounds per game, 3.3 assists per game, about 1.3 steals, shot about 36% from the field and only 34% from three. Did shoot 37% from the corners though. So Lonzo Ball is still kind of getting back into the flow of things after that very long and extensive injury. So that next season, really this summer into next season, he should really be coming back into full form. And Lonzo Ball is interesting because, like I said, he's the guy who has been on the Lakers before, has played with a guy like LeBron James. But this would be a sort of a different role if he were to be traded to the Los Angeles Lakers, because he would almost take up a role as if, like, say Drew Holiday or Derek White did for those Boston Celtics teams, that won the championship a couple seasons ago. Because he is a guy that can really be a very good point of attack defender, which is something the Lakers desperately need. And Lonzo Ball can fit in that role right away. He can guard 1 through 3, and he's pretty sturdy, so he can switch on the bigs, really make it tough on entry passes. So he's a guy that can do a lot of things for you defensively, and that's the type of guard that you need right next to Luka Doncic. And the plus side of it for Lonzo Ball is he kind of comes with his own pace and tone setting. So say if you have Luka Doncic not on the floor and you want another guard to sort of like speed things up, or maybe even run with a guy like Austin Reaves, because Lakers did not trade Austin Reaves in this proposed deal. So you can have him and Austin in the same groups, and you can have a lot quicker units. They can play with a lot more pace. Lonzo Ball has been known for really upping the pace and really setting the tone there offensively with just getting the ball, quick outlets, or getting the ball himself and taking up the court. So Lonzo Ball has always been very good at doing that, and Lakers could definitely benefit from that, especially in those lineups without Luka Doncic, or if Luka Doncic is on the bench. So Lonzo Ball can cover in that situation as well. Now, I did talk about some cons about this, did go about over some a little bit. And first, start with Jakob. For the most part, if the Lakers were to attain him, I do think he's a solid get, but there are some deficiencies in his game. Mostly it's the switchability, especially in this very switch-heavy league. The Lakers ran a lot of switching defenses last season, and he probably wouldn't hold up as well, especially because he is not as quick feet out there on the perimeter, and he is very susceptible to getting blown by from a lot of smaller, quicker guards, especially the ones we have here in the Western Conference. So it would be a very tough ass to ask a guy like Jakob Poeltl to start switching more often because he is not really accustomed to that. So JJ Redick will have to find a way, if the Lakers were to trade for him, to put him in positions where he can be successful. And the same thing goes for Lonzo Ball. So Lonzo Ball, albeit we talked about all the good things that he can add to the team, but the biggest thing about him and the major reason why a lot of teams are down on him is because he's just been injury prone for most of his career. Lonzo Ball has not gone through a full season healthy, and a lot of teams would probably pay more for a guy like Lonzo Ball for his services and his talents and what he can bring to your team because he is a winning basketball player. But it's just all the injury stuff can make people really seem kind of iffy about things. They talked about it even a little bit in that article of like what Ball could bring to the Lakers, and he said Ball adds size defensively, offensive acceleration off the bench, as high potential role to play along with Luka Doncic. While the Lakers lose Vanderbilt and his disruptive defensiveness, his lack of offensive skill provides somewhat problematic in the postseason. So this was sort of like, adding by subtraction. So like, getting a guy like Lonzo Ball who's more competent offensively than a guy like Jared Vanderbilt. And Jared Vanderbilt is the type of defensive player the Lakers need, but he's very hard to play in spots just because of his non-role really on the offensive end. Doesn't really score points or really factor into the playmaking as much for the Los Angeles Lakers. And he's just been a guy that's either staying in the corner or being the dunker and trying to find offensive rebounds when he can. But it's very hard to keep a guy like that on the floor, especially when he doesn't have any type of offensive role, which is the current status for a guy like Jared Vanderbilt, unless he improves on his game, which is still possible because he hasn't had a full offseason in the past 2 years, and now he's going to have that this season. So we can still wait and see for a guy like Jared Vanderbilt. But if the Lakers were to ship out and trade him, I wouldn't be super against it. But another name that they did put in this as well is Dalton Knecht, and I am a little bit not against trading a guy like Dalton Knecht, but just more reserved right now just because of how the type of trade that transpired and what happened. And having a guy like Luka Doncic, I think it is important to have guys off the bench that can really score and fill it up for you. The Lakers bench has been struggling the past couple of seasons to score. So trading a guy like Dalton Knecht kind of worries me in that sense because I do think he can be a guy that can grow into a very good scorer in this league. He's already shown that he's a 3-level scorer, shot really well in the mid-range, shot a very high percentage from 3, and can improve on scoring on the inside, especially if he learns how to hide the basketball so he doesn't keep getting blocked at the top of his shot there. So Dalton Knecht, I think, has still some value to add to the Los Angeles Lakers team. So I'm kind of wary about trading him in a trade, especially if it's a trade that doesn't really push the Lakers over the top, because adding guys like Jakob Poeltl and Lonzo Ball, while it is solid for the Los Angeles Lakers, I don't think it's a move that really puts them over the top. It puts them in very good standing, but you have to hope that both guys are healthy and play for you for most of the season to really get the benefit. But I could be wrong. Well, let us know what you guys think in the comments down below. Do you guys think this is a good trade for the Los Angeles Lakers, getting a guy like Jakob Poeltl and getting Lonzo Ball back, but also trading out Gabe Vincent, Dalton Knecht, Jared Vanderbilt, and Shake Milton? Or do you want to look for another type of trade that will better suit the Los Angeles Lakers? Let us know in the comments down below. And just one more thing for us, guys. There is still 72% of you who have recently watched our videos who are not yet subscribed to the channel just yet. And if you guys want more of that Laker news, Laker updates, trade rumors, game recaps, just every and all things LA Lakers, you guys want to come right here to Lakers Digest so you don't miss any of that action. All right. I have been your host, Okechi Apakama, and I'll catch you guys on the next one.